clouds like that, guys, unless there's something up there generating light. And you might think that WSO has lost its way a little bit, doesn't talk about Planet X. No, we're thinking about it all the time. There's just so many different related things to this phenomenon of Planet X, or what some people think are stellar cores, stars that have attached themselves to our star, thereby weakening it. No, we're not off that story at all. We still believe very much that we're being invaded by other solar system objects in our solar system. We just don't know what they are. We don't claim to know what they are. Here's another picture from the same photographer, again from the airplane, and these light sources as they emerge from behind the clouds. And then what I thought was interesting was I took a photograph that was taken a couple days ago from Canada that shows the two, what we might call stellar cores, or whatever they are, to compare to these photographs here, and that sometimes they're illuminated and sometimes they are not illuminated. And that was kind of an interesting observation. I wanted to thank the subscriber who sent these pictures from a recent Southwest flight over the United States, showing clearly something behind the clouds. I mean, that's not a lens flare, you know, that's from behind the clouds. And what it should tell us is that not only are we going through our own personal tragedies and our own personal struggles, the whole world itself is going through a struggle right now. It's going through a struggle between truth and lies. It's going through a struggle of sorrow versus joy. It's going through a struggle of life versus death. And I just want you to know that not only is the earth you're going through that, I'm going through that, other people are going through that. This refining fire, if you will, this refining fire that brings us close to God again, that brings us close to our Father, is happening to everybody in the world. You know what I mean? Not just me. This picture was interesting to me because it could be wrong, I could be wrong, but this could be just a lens flare, okay? But it does look like something from space can be focused on a very concentrated area of the earth. That's what I saw in this picture. What do you see? I mean, it looks to me like from the ISS, it looks like this thing's beaming down energy. Jeff P. recently talked about, and Jeff P. is one of our great partners at WSO. He has the Nibiru Watcher channel on YouTube. He talks about the sun being weaponized. Go check it out. And then finally, what I wanted to leave you guys with this video, this is from Brazil. This was sunrise. And basically what they were saying was it was at 146 degrees. That is, if I put my compass up and point the compass pipper at the sun, it was coming up almost due south. Now, we are in the winter season of the year, so we do expect the sun to be below the east delineation. We expect it to be somewhere in this 120 range. My question to you all is, and this is when the sun comes up and the sun goes down for the next 5 days, can you do this? Just take a picture, screenshot of your compass on your phone, or a compass if you have a handheld one, to show where the sun is coming up and where the sun is going down. I will compile that information Friday of this week, so make sure that you send me the direction, the exact direction where the sun set or rose, and if it was the sunrise or the sunset, and I'll compile that from around the world. This particular image is from Brazil. But with all that said, guys, I want you to know that I know I'm not alone, and I know that you're not alone. None of us are alone. They want to cut us off from each other. They want to cut us off from the encouragement that we can bring each other as children of the light, as children of God. And I just want to tell you this. They will never cut us off from each other. They are not able to. They're not strong enough to do it. Prayer, a deep connection with the Father, with the Creator, through Christ, through Jesus Christ, all of those things will prevent them from being able to mess with you. Now, doesn't mean that there won't be challenges and that we won't have to face situations where our faith will be required. Absolutely not. We're going to have to use our faith, not only for ourselves, but for each other.
On the screen that you see is the SPT telescope that's tracking the Nibiru system. There won't be much of mini chemtrails over in the South Pole, because this is what they're doing right now to this very hour. So now I'm going to show you an image of the typical skies from higher populated areas across our world. Here is a typical sighting of the skies of today. It is so clear and evident that this is indeed a cover-up. Can you see that chemtrail, that shadow to the right side? and reflections from that lens that they're using, that technology above our Earth's atmosphere to cover up the Nibiru system. They do not want anybody to look at this, so this is what they do. This is a typical chemtrail. As the pilot sprays the area of the skies, turns the chemicals off, and then restarts and turns them on again, leaving gaps in the skies, manipulating our cloud systems and our atmosphere. You can see clearly on this chem plane 6 nozzles for the chemtrails and 4 engines. Looking closely as well, you can see where they're spraying from the nozzles. This is happening again every single day, covering our skies, and they are getting away with this. We get many emails come through as well of reports of fake chemtrail planes, holographic, chem drones, other technology that's being used, spread across the skies. You can see these. If you look on our horizons, you can clearly see these strange different colours of smoke, chemicals that are being produced to make more thickness of the sky across where we see the sun. Here is a typical image of our skies today. We are seeing again the white sun, many chemical lines, strange formations in these chemtrails. I mean, look at the HARP cloud system. They are using HARP on full power. When we see those chemtrails early hours of the morning, and then through the lunchtime skies, it becomes a complete haze, just blocking out the evidence of those celestial bodies that would be seen by many people. But they do manipulate the sky. Life across the world is being hugely affected by these chemtrails, all these chemicals being pumped into our atmosphere, all because they want to hide the truth. From looking down towards our Earth,
the fireball explosion is being reported as one of the biggest atmospheric events of 2018, yet it doesn't make it to the mainstream media. Whether it was because of government censorship or simply because the media regarded it as less attractive than social issue, it is our duty to inform you guys of this event, for behind every effect there is a cause. What's up YouTube? It's JT at X-Science again. If you're not from Europe, it's most likely that you did not know of the atmospheric event that transpired on the 21st of June this year. A sonic boom was heard and reported in several Russian cities. Then, a bright fireball appeared in the sky in broad daylight, before exploding and sending its fragments to the ground. This event happens a mere 5 days after a similar fireball exploded over Belgium, which was witnessed by much of Europe. Since 2011, the number of fireballs and meteors entering Earth's atmosphere has been on the rise. This year, the number is well to match or overtake that reported in 2017. Is it normal? Or is it part of a beginning? I'm not sure, but I know the origin of these fireballs will prove interesting, and we will immediately update you guys on it once we learn of something. At roughly the same time on June 29th, a few thousand kilometers to the south in the part of Rab al-Khali Desert near Oman, a rare weather phenomenon temporarily transformed one of the driest places on Earth into a patchwork of countless many lakes that form between the ripples of sand dunes. This was the work of a tropical hurricane that brought torrential downpours to the empty quarter, a place that on average only getting 1 inch of rain every year. The weather phenomenon has not been witnessed for 2 decades, yet in just a few days it completely transformed the landscape. Now comes the serious news. Just in recent times, geologists and emergency management officials told residents of America's Pacific Northwest to make needed preparations for an impending megathrust earthquake in the Cascadia subduction zone. The disaster is to happen, and when it arrives, the number of casualties will likely be tens of thousands, along with extensive damage. As the tectonic plates in the subduction zone slip, one plate, the Fuga Oceanic tectonic plate, will slide under the other, the North American tectonic plate. The slip pushes the North American plate eastwards and presses it, which in turn will spring back at some point under pressures, causing a greater than magnitude 9 earthquake. A dreadful mega-earthquake for everyone living near the Pacific coast. Should it happen, the northwest edge of the continent will subside by a maximum of 6 feet and will move from 30 to 100 feet westwards, causing disastrous landslides and displacing a huge volume of water. This displaced amount of water will return in less than 50 minutes in the form of a terrifying 700 feet high tsunami. Water will not be the only thing displaced. Around 1 million people will also have to be moved, and another 2.5 million will be in need of emergency supplies, food and water, according to FEMA. Estimations are a minimum of 3 months to restore sustainable powers and 1 year to rebuild infrastructure. Truly an apocalyptic event. Worse, it is long overdue from its 240-year cycle, according to seismologists. On the last days of June, Vancouver Island was hit by 150 tremors, which was monitored by seismologists to determine whether if a slip event has occurred, which would add more pressure to the subduction zone. So far, nothing alarming has been announced, or perhaps, is it not meant to be announced? If you live near the northwest, then by any accounts, be prepared to respond to emergencies if you have not been already. Moving southwards again, to the bottom of the world. In the last week of June, news channels wisely reported that the melting of Antarctic ice shelf had tripled since 1992, making it headlines and warned of an uncontrollable ice collapse that may raise the sea level dramatically, endangering coastal communities. I have another video specific on this, so watch it if you are interested. The fact that changes are happening in Antarctica is of great import, and it is part of a process from global warming to ice melting and finally to the rise of sea levels. Yet, many people still regard it as fake news, claiming that the ice is melting at its natural rate and that global warming is just a fiction. There's quite a number of bloggers refuting the science behind the events taking place at the South Pole. They believe the polar regions are doing just fine. In my opinion, they are just dwelling in the fantasies and ignoring decades of data, observations, and analysis that establish the factor basis for the extensive case of the unnatural ice melt. On June 13th, when the Arctic story first made the news, What's Up About It, a site of deniers, posted some controversial reports on the latest study on Antarctica, which was published in the science journals among the top-ranking academic publications of the world. The farce began with a pitiful effort to shy away from reality by claiming that despite the acceleration, the part that melt was only a small part of the continent, which was insignificant. This argument is flimsy, and it was based on personal misinterpretations of the size of the reported melting, rather than the continuous progress of breaking down that was happening there and its consequences. The actual text of the ice melt was also from a separate report from June 14th. Sensing their failure, these deniers again tried to establish that the Antarctic ice sheet had survived conditions that was 2 or 3 degrees warmer than what we have today. but this contradicts the fact that the ice cap is already melting at only 1 degree warmer, and it is being reported. Not to mention the 2 or 3 degrees warmer period they use as an example was during the Pliocene era, a misleading report. But not giving up, these people tries again with some graphs that dated 17 years ago from a 2001 study, which showed that a few degrees of warming in the past have failed to trigger any large-scale ice melt within an hour. Note that within an hour. There is where they miss the point, and instead interpret it as the ice sheet would survive several degrees of warming. It is these people whose attempts to twist the facts and deny science brought confusion and distrust to other people. Cherry-picking an outdated studies in 2001 and then trying to argue that the sea levels are not rising based on some flimsy arguments is not the way of science. A climate change skeptic by the name of Paul Homewood wrote a piece recently in which he attempted to cast confusion about correlation between the Antarctic meltdown and the rising sea levels by using another outdated chart from 18 years ago. This person claimed that the sea levels are already rising, but that Antarctica has nothing to do with it. Of course, he provides no explanations about where the rising water originated or the principal cause in it. Yet, he claims any future melt that occurs on the Arctic continent will play no roles in rising seas. So he is a denier that tries to ride 2 bikes at once, all the while trying to persuade you to believe in outdated and inconsistent with present-day reality statements. That's just how the deniers of science operate, chiefly based on either outdated, inconsistent, or outright irrelevant information. I think they fool themselves with their own misinterpretations of information just as much as they try to rope you into it, probably not even knowing that they were on the wrong way all the time. The final line I want to say to you today is that be critical and logical when it comes to contradicting claims on some scientific matters. Be careful with your sources of information, as there are many people out there will...
This simulator, this sun that's behind it, showing the truth, showing the different reflections. So now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to now produce more images as well, coming in right now to this hour, showing the truth by these fantastic people in our community. Here we have an image that's come in from Iris Turner from Florida. I'm going to zoom in and show you this image. What we're seeing here again is a typical chemtrail that's in the center of the screen. Let me just zoom in closer for you for this as well. Get this sorted. What we're seeing here again is chem lines. These are not natural. These have just come in. So again in Florida they are spraying the skies very heavily. Can you see again this reflector? Look at the shape of this. They don't want you to see this. They don't want you to see the different colours. It's far too bright on the screen here. Here we go again. We've got the typical chemtrail. We've got the strange reflection that's above the area again from the reflector. Chem lines. Everything on the screen is just poison. It's not natural. It's not good for any of us. When you look at the photograph again in detail, you can see the dimming that's going on. The natural sun is behind this. You're starting to see that red haze, and also with the cloud systems, they're being pushed to one side. The reflection is wrong as well. It's fluorescent. Even on the ground where Iris lives in Florida, you can see that dark shadow. She's collecting these photographs daily to produce, to show you exactly what's going on. And indeed it is serious, isn't it? Because something that's not being said by media is very, very serious. They don't want you to see or look up to this truth. Let me move to now Iris's next photo. Here we have the next image that's come in again from Florida. Now look in detail with this photograph, okay? Look on the ground, look at the grass, the trees, even the road. The reflection is wrong from this object in our skies. It is not our sun. Our sun would produce a golden reflection, a natural colour reflection in the skies, beaming down to the ground. You can see a number of chemtrails being sprayed, one in the centre of the screen, one to the right. And what I was looking at in detail was this red haze around the area that we see the reflector, just above, reflecting on those strange formations. That red colour is coming through from the Nibiru system. Look again on the horizon to the right side. You're seeing those lowered cloud formations. The natural clouds are not doing anything. They're not protecting us. From when you look at those clouds on the horizons, think back to the 1980s. You remember that those cloud formations were in front of the natural sun. This proves as well that our sun is in deep trouble. It's acting very strange. It's dimming, it's darkening. Without the reflector, we would just see a very dark sky all through the day. And then people would straight away, without a shadow of a doubt, wake up to the truth. On the next photograph that's just recently come in, I'm going to show you this lower cloud formation. It is important to see that, because our sun in the past, again, when you see those cloud formations on the screen to the right hand side, they should be in the area covering our natural sun, but indeed they're not. Now, this system that's out there in our solar system is affecting our Earth's magnetic field. Let me zoom in to have a look round on this photograph as well, because I find this to be very interesting too. Looking down here, we can see loads of chemtrails, chem lines in the skies. Here is our natural cloud formations. But when this dimming occurs, which I've spoke about in the past as well, just like on Iris's photos, look again, this cloud formation should be white and bright with a slight golden haze from the natural sun. But what we're seeing is a dimming, a dark sky showing this dark cloud system. It's not natural, what we're seeing here on the screen. Going here also, we're seeing formations, chem formations, a pink haze, but also this reflector that's beaming the wrong colour. It's happening every place right now, even through the UK as well. We're seeing this happening. Many people are now emailing from the UK explaining that they are looking up and they are taking notice and watching the channel and seeing these big differences. Everybody in our community knows what's going on. This is the last attachment from Iris. Look at those strange formations in the skies. Here we have to the right hand side the reflector. Those chemtrails again make the reflector beam a lot stronger when those chemicals react to the light sources up there. Look at the left side, we've got a pink haze. Everything on the screen again is unnatural. When you look down to the ground, to our Earth, where we live, we would like then to also see the blue sky, the yellow sun and normal cloud formations. So with these photos, this is just showing the truth that this agenda is still carrying on. Okay, now I've just had an email as well that came in 8 hours ago at 3:07 PM from Florida. It states as well, does any of this look normal? Large dark shadows. Now I'm going to now show you these attachments because again this is very important. Okay, on the first attachment it all looks normal, but indeed it isn't. We've got to look through the cloud system and notice what they've been doing above. Let's just check this out here on the photograph. If we zoom in, we are starting to see what is going on. Can you see the chemtrails? Can you see these strange formations in the sky again? Chemicals. Everything here. We've got the chemical lines, chemtrails here as well. I mean, it's all again just above the cloud systems being sprayed heavily. Just another huge cover up of the skies. Let's just zoom out on this as well. We go back out. There's lots of things going on here on the photograph, isn't there? Please observe the skies. Now, what you're seeing as well is a dark shadow, just here. Can you see the blue skies here, and down here and here? We've got a dark shadow that's being covered up. They are spraying the skies. I mean, look at this. Just zoom in for you one more time. Looking at the skies again. Here we go. Here it is. The dark shadow. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to another photograph. Okay, with this next photograph that's come in, we can see what's happening, can't we? There is strange formations up in the heavens. To the right hand side you're seeing the simulator. Look at the dark shadow to the left side. On the buildings just below as well, you can see this white dark dimming of the area that we're seeing of this reflector again. All the photos are just showing the truth. I mean, look again, look at these chem lines in the skies. Every single day it's a cover-up. Like I said just earlier on the video, the news media, the weather channels are still saying that everything is normal. But again, when you look at the photographs that have just come in very recently from Florida, it is indeed not normal. Look at the dark shadow above on this photo. To the right side, you've got that pink haze cutting through. You've got the reflector, the area that we see of the sun. The yellow sun that was there before many years ago has now changed its colour. On the photograph here as well, something is going on. Look straight at the area that we believe to be the sun. Can you see that pink colour reflecting through on that